Nancy, you had mentioned keeping things fresh when the old ceiling becomes the floor. I love that statement. I love the way you said it. I told you earlier, I think it's interesting because when we talk with our customers, right, we always have people saying, we want to do something different. We want to keep it fresh. We want to show up in a new way. So I want to know, can you elaborate on that either as a problem or something you've solved? And I think we can get into a discussion about how to keep things fresh.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is a problem, and it's something that we've solved from time to time, but certainly not perfectly, probably like everybody. It's a huge challenge. You're on the heels of a really great event and everybody's celebrating and so excited. And then, you have a new challenge in front of yourself of how you're going to either match or beat that. And, I think the general expectation is to beat it. You can always try to get more budget, but that's not realistic. And that only goes so far too. You have to really kind of drive and push creatively. So, a couple of examples that we've found are successful for our particular audiences. For our hosted event, so our customer event, we have leaned very, very hard into location. I'm going to bring up Nashville again because we were just there in September, and we were very Nashville at the event. We had tons of musicians. We had really great food. We utilized all of the amazing venues in Nashville. So, we took advantage of local resources and tried to provide as much of an immersive experience for our customers as possible. This same event is going to be in Southern California next year. So now we're looking at, being able to be outside and having beautiful views and nice scenery and, different kind of food and vibes. So we lean very, very hard into location. We also utilize technology. This year we had our CEO spoke about AI and the role of AI in our industry. And to kick off his speech, we had a group create a custom music piece for us done exclusively by AI. So it was a drum mashup and all this different music, and it was amazing. And it surrounded everybody in the ballroom, and it was a really cool way to kick off the conference. So think about what your speakers are going to be talking about and figure out if you can tack on an experience to that. As exhibitors, we participate in 75 events during the year. So we're constantly trying to think about how to be creative, how to do something different with giveaways and booth activities. You mentioned not just Instagrammable photographs, like how do you get people into your booth and how do you keep them there and how do they interact with your products and services? And so that to me is a work in progress and something that we're constantly talking about and evaluating. And, I'm always beating the drum of train your team how to be good exhibitors. So in a previous role, I used to manage a trade show, and we would get mighty complaints from people who would set up their booth and hope that people would come to them. They would just sit there and wait for the traffic to come, and that never works. So you have to train your team to set up meetings, to invite people to the booth, to draw them in when they're walking by. I can't tell you how frustrating it is to see somebody's back turned when people are walking by the booth. Turn around and engage people and draw them in and have a conversation with them. So I think there's so many factors that go into it, and all things that we're still working on and trying to refine.
That's the biggest problem for us. It's the training of the staff, because we identify the sales team to help and support the event. They get there and then they're just standing around, and it's really engage with the customer. It doesn't have to be this deep conversation. Hey, who are you? What are your areas of problems? How can we help? Like just surface level conversations. And I think no matter how many times that we've had it with our sales team, it's still the kind of feedback that we get was, well, we didn't engage as best we could. And so to your point you made, Nancy, I think it's kind of over communicating in the pre-planning phase where here's what we're doing, and then kind of an education on we need you really to be an active participant in this event to really bring those conversations and ultimately the pipeline.
Yeah. And I echo everything that they both said. All of that is definitely very important and good ways to kind of keep things fresh and exciting. But I also want to add, the little moments, think about the full end-to-end event journey. And that starts with how you promote your event, how people register, how people book appointments to meet with your sales team, what those little experiences look like as well. How do you make your event registration process a little bit better, a little bit more tech savvy, a little bit more technologically advanced? People notice those little things. And to you, it's like, oh, we just, brought on board a new event management platform, but to the user, to the registrant, that's a whole new experience for them, and that in itself will make that event feel that much better. So don't forget the little things as well.
Totally.
I think a couple good things there. When you guys were touching on the idea of like how to engage on the show floor, I think Tavar brought up a good point earlier, which is sort of this like inclusivity of people out of events. Like you have introverts, you have people that will not, we've exhibited where people have not come into our booth to come talk to us, but they've reached out to us afterwards and said, right, like so I think you have to be considering all the time the effort that goes into, do you have other forms of getting in touch with people? John, Nancy both touched on pre-planning. If you think you're just going to show up and pull people out of the aisles, you're not, right? You're just not. You got to have engagement. You have to be busy. You have to look like things are going on. It's got to be this positive, smiling, face on atmosphere for people. That will get the people that maybe or may not want to come in. So I really like all those points there. I think those are really, really good. Tavar and John, on the idea of keeping things fresh over time, anything else that you guys would like to add? Because obviously kind of reinventing the wheel, event to event to event, you're trying to do something bigger, better, badder. And I think I hear that from a lot of event marketers that we speak to is they always want to do something new, right? They want to show up looking different, looking better, engaging better. Anything else you guys might recommend?
I would just say, like I said before, focus on the little things. Like it doesn't always have to be this astronomical moment or this huge thing that, improves the experience. Focus on the little things and also try to diversify your experiences, and not necessarily only from a lens of inclusivity, but when I say diversify your experience, it's like it starts at a booth, but do you have a hospitality lounge they can go to after the booth? Do you have an afterglow event planned outside of the conference? Like, making sure that you're accommodating as many touch points as possible outside of the norm. I think it's just, remembering the small moments, remembering the small things, and then diversifying the experience.